They didn't. Only 2
2 what?
weekends without rugby league.
2 horrible weekends.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Rugby League Outlaws, brought to you by our good friends at Top Sport. Don't forget to like and subscribe everywhere you can. We're 2 weeks away from trials.
So close.
So close for some rugby league. I feel it's been a very quiet off-season.
Yeah, there's been no travesties, no threats of games not going ahead. Actually, there was.
Yeah, so Vegas.
Everyone's favourite round of rugby league.
We still don't have visas. We still don't have permits. We still don't have accommodation.
There was some talk that certain players that have been arrested in the past wouldn't be able to get in.
Correct.
Now, we haven't heard don't be silly, that's not going to happen yet from the NRL, which worries me just a little bit. A couple of stars.
Inside 5 years is my understanding. If you've been arrested, charged, or whatever, you cannot go. So there's a couple of players there who would be nervous. So, like, take an example, Latrell Mitchell and Jack Whiten, who were cleared, but have been
arrested in the past 12 months. It was about this time last year, actually, from memory. It's not good.
No.
I mean, I get the feeling it'll be sorted quickly, and you always feel like they can run it up the pole.
I mean, it's America. You can always bribe.
Well, yes, to our American friends, but I haven't been the biggest fan of the Vegas, and I'm pretty on. When it happens, it's going to be awesome. It's like, yay, what a day. Sunday afternoon's going to be really fun. But is it really worth all this trouble? No. And has the NRL really thought this through?
No. The answer is no and no. Is it really worth it? No. Are there better ways to grow the game of rugby league in America? Absolutely.
You're not worried?
Test matches.
Yeah.
Test matches, 9s. That's the way to grow rugby league in America.
The statement that worried me was one of the coaches came out and said, we're not going to lock the players in their rooms for the week. If they want to go out and enjoy the nightlife, they can. What could possibly go wrong with NRL players in Vegas, probably on the drink, enjoying the nightlife?
Correct. The other thing as well that you have to have a look at it though is if you did take those players over there and said you cannot go out, that's when the players are going to go, well, yes, we can, and that's when it's going to get worse because they're going to go and drink more faster. So I'd be okay with them turning around and going, listen, you play on Sunday, where Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, go nuts. Friday, Saturday, you've got to be on your best behaviour.
Do you know when they fly home? I suppose they don't even know yet.
Probably on Tuesday.
The night after would be the night that I would be encouraging players. Just stay a little under the wrap. Then if you want to drink for 3 days, I don't particularly care. And whatever, they're adults. They probably do that at home anyways. I just think this has a big recipe to go very wrong. My worst fear, of course, is they don't apply our Latrell standard, doesn't get in, and then the Americans go, well, we paid all this money to watch Latrell Mitchell, evidently, because how would they know? Yeah. So I'm hoping I'm eating, egg on my face come that Sunday afternoon. 2 brilliant games of football, no injuries, no stories, but brilliant. A sold-out arena. Just can't see it happening, unfortunately.
What we can see happening very soon, though, we're hearing from Brisbane, it was meant to happen months ago. Ezra M finally going to put that pen to paper on that long-term 4-year deal. Now, this is good. This is great for Brisbane. This is great for the city of Brisbane, the Broncos themselves. Queensland, keeping Ezra M up there. I just feel the Broncos may have fumbled this a little bit because...
How so?
When it came out that he was going to re-sign on the initial contract, they had him 4 years, $3 million. That's $750,000 a year.
Good money.
They didn't get that contract in front of him. Jerome Luai goes and signs the $1.2 million deal. Tom Dearden goes and signs the big extension in the Cowboys. And all of a sudden, Ezra M turns around and goes, well, I'm better than Dearden. And I outplayed Jerome Luai in a grand final. In fact, I played so well, they hooked Jerome Luai.
Yep.
Now, if they still get him at that same deal, that is an incredible deal. I just feel like maybe going 50 or 100K up on the Broncos.
Ezra M would be quite within his right to say, actually, guys, the market has shifted and I want to shift with it. This is a bloke who can play the next 3 or 4 years on, I won't say pittance because $750K is a lot of money, but he can have those $1.2 million contract rises in this future. I think he's in a spot where they can win a premiership now. And for the next 3 years, they can be very, very good. I think he'd be smart to sign, but I wouldn't hold it against him even if I was a Broncos fan, God forbid. If he said, oh, it's got to be $850 now, and they got to find $100K somewhere in the cap, that's purely on them. And I mean, he's worth every cent if you ask me.
He is, yeah. Look, I think you'll do the smart thing and stay with the Broncos.
Do you reckon he'll honour it? Would you though?
Look, at that age, at 20 years old, when you're still getting that fair chunk of coin and there's the opportunity for a premiership, yes. But if I was 25 and for the previous 5 years I'd been loyal and there was no premiership and you don't know how it's going to look, I'd be like, nah, the market shifted, I'm shifting with it. Yeah. So I think you'll do the right. I mean, this is a guy, I can't see him playing for any other team apart from Brisbane.
No. He's come through the ranks and stuff, and it's such a feel-good story. He's such a good player. They need to tie him down long-term, and they need to put a clause in his contract that says, if you go like we think you can in the next 3 years, you automatically have to sign a bigger contract, so-and-so, because he could be the future up there. Because Adam Reynolds, I mean, as good as he is... Won't
play forever.
No, you physically can't.
Went off with a foot injury as well, but they reckon Adam Reynolds will be fine. He wasn't going to play the trials anyway.
No, they've come out and said that he'd be training by the end of the week, which hopefully would have been like yesterday or maybe early next week. It's a little bit worrying though, because he's starting to go down a lot.
And it was a non-contact injury, which makes it look even worse.
His quote was something along the lines of, he threw a beautiful cutout ball, watched someone go over, and then he felt like a sniper would get him.
Yeah.
It's non-contact's always the issue, and I'm not saying he's injury prone or anything like that, but blokes at that age, okay, if he's 21, you go, rub some dirt on it and get over it. At that, you're like, oh, geez, carry him off. Yeah. And everyone was tweeting about it. It was the biggest thing on Twitter for a couple of hours.
Mate, don't I know about it. Now, Jack Whiten has been in the papers again for the right reasons, saying that he loves South Sydney, he's rejuvenated, he wants to play in the centres. Good. And he may come out of retirement for rep football. Now, good news for New South Wales, because when he puts that sky blue jumper on, he lifts. And he is one of the best players on the park.
Yes.
That's a slap in the face to Brad Fittler, though. I just reckon he didn't want to play this year.
Well, if that is true, then Jack Whiten just went from here to here in my eyes, because I wouldn't want to play for Brad Fittler either. That guy was a goose. But I put it to you, Terry, that with Bradman Best, if Tommy Turbo's fit, you got to find a spot for him. You know, Tony Staggs is threatening to be a real good footballer if he ever finds, consistency. There's 3 or 4 young centres that'll look at that and go, yeah, it's our time now. So I'm going to declare that I am also available to play for New South Wales, because I think on this time in 10 or 12 weeks, we'll have the same chance of playing. Of course, you can look back and go, yeah, he's played well for New South Wales before, blah, 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 blah. For me, though, it's Bradman Best and whoever's in the best form.
And I'm not saying he's going to get picked in the centres, but you're looking at a guy who's 6'3", big dude, very fast, great defensively, can cover 1 through 7.
And 13, I'd say.
Could play 13, has played 13. You put him on an edge as well, and he can come off the bench. I think he is the perfect 14 for New South Wales.
I agree.
He's a better 14 than Nico Hines is.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Nico Hines can play halfback, 5'8", or fullback, whereas for New South Wales last year, it seemed to be the centres that were going down. It's better that he's available. And like I said, if he's gone to Brad Fittler and gone, I'm not playing under this, then good on him. Now, Dan, from memory, was Michael Maguire at Canberra last year in some capacity on the coaching staff?
In some capacity, consultant perhaps. He wasn't part of the coaching staff from memory. Happy to be proven wrong.
Which says that Jack Whiten spent a year under Michael Maguire and said, you know what, he's the New South Wales coach. I will make myself available because I will play for him. I just don't think you want to play for Fittler.
Again, I can't blame him.
Now, speaking to someone who won't play for New South Wales, Blake Laurie has come out and declared that he wants to play front row for New South Wales this year. Cool.
Again, Terry, so will I.
He can play New South Wales Cup. He can play Residents Cup. He could play for anyone but New South Wales. He can play for Wales. He ain't going to play for New South Wales, though.
Very clever, very clever. I have 2 thoughts on this. One, Blake, come on. Come on. And 2, I don't want to hear players talking about Origin in the preseason. I want to hear him coming out and saying, looking forward to strapping down. We're going to get a good season. We're going to prove everyone wrong. His coach is in the bloody papers every 15 seconds and on air and every radio interview in the world. And he's there talking Origin. Now, he won their Player of the Year last year, so he's their best player. Now, I would argue that he's probably not.
I would argue that he probably is.
But imagine if Nico Hines came out and said, yeah, I'm really focused on Origin, I want to play Origin. You got 10 weeks for your team to get through first. And it's not like they're going in with, oh yeah, we'll win our first 10 games. They'd be lucky to start 1-9 with that draw. And I don't care who they're playing. They go in as underdogs against everyone other than the Tigers and the Bulldogs if they're at home. Just focus on your footy and let it happen. I like the confidence, Terry.
I would have appreciated his comment that said, I'm looking forward to getting back and I hope my form gets me in line for an Origin.
Yes, I want to show Origin form.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any talk from anyone in January/early Feb about Origin. Now, Whiten we can excuse because they asked him and he came out.
Yeah, he said, if they ask me, I'll...
But no one is going to Blake Laurie and going, geez, mate, I'll tell you what, you're going to play Origin in 14 weeks. And I'm not bagging Blake Laurie. I thought he had a very good season last year in a horrible, horrible club. Mm-hmm.
Disgraceful club.
Disgracefully horrible club. But give it a rest, mate. Origin shouldn't exist in any player's mind, of course it does, for at least the next 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. Then we start talking Origin. I would, if I'm a Dragons fan, not too happy.
Lucky we're
just
not.
Just in general.
Yeah, lucky we're not. I don't think it's a good look, especially for someone who hasn't played Origin.
No.
If you were, I don't know, if you're like someone like David Clemmer, whose form has probably warranted an extra 3 Origin games over the last couple of years, because they've brought in some crap front rowers. Let's be, and that's probably what Laurie's looking at.
Yeah, well, but Brad Fittler's not there anymore. If Fittler's there, he's probably in playing.
But someone like Clemmer who turns around and says, you know what, we're training really well under Benji. We're really excited about it, and the form that I've been in the last couple of years could see me get back into the rep arena. I know Michael Maguire. Yeah, I could cop that.
That's fair.
Blake Laurie though. You only looked good last year because the Dragons stink. And finally, a little bit of sad news. Is it sad news? Could be seen that way. Jesse Bromwich has said that this will probably be his last year of NRL football. Now, a great prop in the NRL era. You and I had him in the top 5 of our lists for the
NRL props.
The best props.
He's a genius.
Yeah, he was a
great footballer.
Fantastic footballer in his peak. Multiple Daily M Team of the Years, Prop of the Year awards.
It's a monster human being.
Yeah, premierships, legitimate premierships.
Legitimate, real premierships.
And then took the opportunity to help further his brother's career by going to the Dolphins with him.
Big time, yeah.
And also as well, a player like Jesse Bromwich was never signed by the Dolphins to go up there and get a top 4 straight away. He was signed to go up there and set standards, set training, be a leader for the young players in there.
So there's some legitimacy about it, really.
And perhaps for 2 years after he's retired, stick around.
Oh, undoubtedly. This is a bloke who can coach, for sure.
Yeah. Well, maybe not even coach, but he could be. You find a job for him in the pathways. You find a job for him around the club somewhere, right? Just for because you don't want to send him back to Melbourne. No. You don't want to let him go back to Melbourne.
He wouldn't want to go back to Melbourne either.
Maybe not.
If Melbourne or I'm going the.
Yeah, that's quite true. But I just think that he's a genuinely great NRL player. Has been
great player. Underrated.
Yeah, very underrated.
There are a lot of players, people talk about those great Melbourne sides, and obviously you go to the Stars, your Cam Smiths, your Billy Slaters. None of that happens without Bromwich leading the way, and he's been tremendous. Even last year when he went to the Dolphins, we were like,
he still punched out some big numbers.
He was still fantastic for him, and it is a big loss to the game. Great player.
A great career. We know you're watching. Thank you, Jesse. Dan.
Talk to me, Terry.
It's time for the top 4.
The big boys. The contenders.
Yeah, last week you put the contenders. Was it the I think that was just...
It was clickbaity.
Clickbaity. Very clickbaity. Nice one, Molly.
Thank you. The real contenders.
The real contenders are out this week. There's
the awesome foursome.
There's 4 teams left. We've got the premiers, the runners-up, the surprise packets. We're picking them again in the top 4. And the ever-present Melbourne Storm.
Storm. Boring.
So... in 4th, we're picking the Storm to stay where they are.
Well, every year you want to say this is the year that Melbourne fall apart, and it never happens.
Every year they seem to find, where like Cam Smith's gone, cool, they've got Harry Grant. Cooper Cronk's gone, Jerome Hughes decided to be brilliant. Cam Munster's there. They've got
Pappenhausen's
Fa'alongo,
back too.
Pappenhausen. You got Nick Meaney.
Big boys up front. The only problem, or
Depth.
potential problem, is depth. I don't look at their centres anymore and go, geez, they scare me. Because when Olam and Reema Smith were destructive animals, they were real hard. Smith's still there, I believe. Olam, of course, has moved to the Tigers. They bought Bloor, which means he'll probably be a freak.
Can we just quickly discuss?
Of course.
Why on earth would the West Tigers trade a young 22-year-old, enormous back rower for a washed centre when Craig Bellamy's ringing you every day saying, are we going to do this deal? Are we going to do this deal? Are we going to do this deal? You know you're about to mess it up.
Yeah, I think they just needed a name and someone with plenty of experience. I think the Tigers will do well out of that deal early on, but I think Bloor's going to be an absolute freak of nature under Bellamy. And he's the reason I'm keeping him in the top 4, because even if Pappenhausen can't come back like we know he can, they'll find someone else.
Yeah, they've got Fa'alongo.
Yeah, or Nick Meaney will go in and be a freak. Or they'll sign some kid who played 2 games somewhere and he'll be the next immortal. I mean, it's what Melbourne do.
No, I never heard of Will Warbrick, and he was absolutely phenomenal.
He'll score another million try. You get Coates back, of course, from a long-term injury. Yeah, I'm not going to be one of those people that this is the year that Melbourne drop out. Or they drop all the way to 4th.
Yeah, 4th for the Storm.
Jerome Hughes, superstar.
Cam Munster, one of the best players in the game.
I hate him so much, Terry. And that's the biggest prop you can give to a team.
Yeah.
Speaking of props, though, maybe a little bit short.
Yeah, the factory of players that they just churn out is just, that's unreal.
I always look for the players on the Storm that are in or around that top 30 or come into the top 30, and I go, him. Because if Craig Bellamy says him, it's probably going to be him.
Number 3.
Controversial.
We have
grief for this.
We've given a big jump to the Sydney Roosters. Now, big off-season addition in Spencer Linu. Huge. May have contributed to pushing Terrell May out the door.
That'd be fine. Last year, Terry, they were god-awful and still almost beat the Storm to go into a prelim. Last year I looked and thought, geez, they're a prop and a genuine superstar winger short. They've gone out and signed Spencer Linu and Dom Young. And once again, I hate them with a passion because they just refuse to go away.
Now, here's the big thing. How are they going to fit their back line in? Obviously, James Tedesco is going to be the fullback, and you can lock Joey Manu in for a centre spot.
Centre spots, correct.
So you've got Daniel Tupou, you've got Dom Young, you've got Swahili, and you've got Billy Smith. Yep.
I think you name your big 5 to start, and Smith sits on the bench or
18th man for Billy Smith.
Man.
He was incredible last year.
Look, if Suaalii goes off the boil or can't play centre, and we saw last year that his best football came at the wing, he's leaving at the end of next year, so it doesn't really matter.
Now, I have seen some Roosters fans that just popped up on my Twitter feed because I don't know why, but they were saying there was a stretch there where Trent Robinson played Daniel Tupou off the bench.
I can't see that working.
He's also really old now, Daniel Tupou.
He is. He's a big dude.
Yep.
Now, maybe he's just the one to miss out because Smith was fantastic at the end of last year.
Smith was fantastic.
I've seen people say that you got to put Kiri at 7, you got to play Manu at 6. I hate it personally.
I hate it.
But Manu as a running 6, it could be scary, but I just don't think Luke Keary's got that game manager.
Yeah, there's just not that creativity because Luke Keary's best attribute as well is his running game.
Absolutely. And your kicking game really drops off now, off there. Look,
Sam Walker looks like he's actually put on a bit of beef.
Walker can be very, very good. It's frightening how good this kid can be. Now, my issue is, last year, Brandon Smith was not good.
No.
He's had an off-season to listen to people like us say he wasn't good. When has he ever had a bad season? People have bagged him. He's come back next year and gone, yeah, you're right. I'm going to go really well and make everyone look like idiots. Well, every single time. He had 2 bad games a couple of years ago. Everyone was like, he's no good. Goes to hooker, wins hooker of the year.
Yep.
So their backline is frightening. When you're talking about a side who's got Angus Crichton on their books and he might not be in their top 17, that is disgusting.
Sue Wong, Terrell May, you add in Spencer Linu, you've still got Jared Boyer-Hargraves. What's the big red-headed Lindsay Collins?
Yeah,
He's incredible.
that's a frightening
Nat Butcher,
side.
Egan Butcher.
That is a tremendous football side.
mean,
I don't think it's controversial at all.
I don't think it's controversial.
I've seen some people say, I can't believe you guys are going to put the Roosters in the 4. I'm pretty
I can't believe we've got them as low as 3. But the reason we have them at number 3, because at number 2, Dan...
This is controversial.
This is controversial. Now, you wrote this down. It's
did,
my
and I
handwriting, but you wrote it down.
I took full responsibility for
And
this in the
accountability.
pre-show, and now I'm a little bit worried I'll eat my words, but whatever, it's done now.
The Penrith Panthers, number 2.
Going to have the fall of all falls from grace all the way to second spot, probably on points differential.
Now, yeah, I will say this here right now. I am predicting Penrith will win the 4th premiership in a row and set... You know, it hasn't happened for
Hurtful,
how
but
long?
not... Yeah.
I think they're going to win their 4th in a row. I don't think it matters if they minor premiers or not. That squad is incredible. I think towards the back end of the year, they'll bring it all together and just go through. It's Jerome Luai's last year. They're probably looking at it now going, this is the last opportunity to win that premiership. Then we're going to have to rebuild for a couple of years. We've got some good young players coming through.
Very much.
So 25, 26 may be it before we reload and go again for 27, 28. I think they are going to win it, but I just think over the course of the year, they'll get dragged by Origin. They will, they'll rest players as they
Cleary
do.
will have 6 weeks out for whatever reason.
Yeah, and Jack Cole will just come in and be absolutely incredible. I think they're the deepest team in the NRL at the moment.
Well, their New South Wales Cup team is
ridiculous. Sensational. So we've got them second on the ladder, but they're my premiers.
Yeah, it's completely fair.
Mine premiers though.
Just 1 minute. Dane Laurie coming back is just, this kid is so good, and we saw signs of it at the Tigers, but he never felt like he was a Tiger ever.
No.
Even when he was there, he was winning.
Where does he play though?
I think he plays off the bench or in New South Wales Cup at 6 because I think he's the next cap. Now, there's 3 or 4 players that could, of course, come through. They've got some freaks in the under kids. They're going to come through. This is a year of, well, we got the 2 that we know, and then next year we'll look forward. I think if either man goes down, Dane Laurie comes in at 6 and lights competition up. They've lost Stephen Crichton, who's arguably the best centre in the game, undisputably a top 3 centre.
I was waiting for this before we speak about the next team, but however...
They've got 4 or 5 players that can come in and play and colour. Now, you've got to get Talon May back into that side somewhere.
He's the one apparently replacing Crichton.
Look, that makes complete sense. You've got Lindsay Smith, who just was a machine last year. He's going to play more minutes now. Spencer Lena's moved on.
Nav Guy comes in.
It gives them opportunities to bring these kids that you've been hearing about for 2 or 3 years, guys that routinely make the New South Wales Cup, team of the year, despite being on the younger side of the players. Then they got the under-20s, whatever it is now, the flag, that routinely either win it or come very close. Anyone hoping for the downfall, it's going to take about 15 injuries. And, of course, we don't wish that upon anyone. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. But number one.
Number one.
Give it to the Brisbane Broncos. Now, they should have been the minor premiers last year.
Yep.
Kevy ballsed up the last round in a big way. Now, let's have a look at the losses of both teams. So Crichton went, Spencer Lena went, and Zach Hosking went.
2 big ones and a
depth player, right? Then you have a look at Herbie Farnworth. He and Crichton were the 2 best centres in the game this year, and the drop off to 3rd was enormous, right?
That's right.
Flegler, Origin player, probably on the same level as Spencer Lena.
Yep, on their day, both tremendous football.
Kurt Capewell, probably a little bit better than Zach Hosking.
More influential, absolutely.
More influential. So they both lost 3 really good players. The Panthers are promoting from within. They were prepared.
They were.
When the Broncos were about to lose Kurt Capewell, they were like, "Are we going to let him go? Are we going to let him go?" With Zach Hoskins in the papers, Penrith were like, "Yeah, let's
see you later."
See you.
Or not see you later. But
we've got the players to come in. So I think
I think Mav Guy is a good shout. Yeah.
I just think that Brisbane will want to be on that level above to compensate from losing the grand final. I think they're going to lose 2 grand finals in a row.
That's a big kick. You cannot tell me that you can lose a grand final and not get a kick out of that. We've seen teams come out and fall apart after losing a grand final. It can destroy you.
4-8 up.
Like they should be premiers. Let's be honest. They should be premiers. I'm not basing this on who's got the better squad. I'm basing it on the fact that Reece Walsh is going to go to another level. This is a kid who's a freak of nature. He has an Origin and a grand final under his belt now. He's going to draw on that. Ezra M was man of the match for 70 minutes of the grand final, and I think has another level. Reynolds showed no signs of slowing down. I think Katoni Staggs looked good, and I don't even think Selwyn Cobbo played particularly well last year, which is frightening because if that kid ever finds his potential,
and they're moving him into the centres to get him a bit more ball. I do like that.
Doesn't work, so be it. But
you lose his kick returns, but whatever. Broncos number 1 on the ladder, but number 2 in the record books for 2024 for me.
And in our hearts.
It's the Panthers. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Rugby League Outlaws, brought to you by our good friends at Top Sport. Don't forget to like and subscribe where you can.
Keep the comments coming, please.
Give us a 5-star rating. So follow us. Make sure you subscribe on the YouTube channel.
We need attention.
Bag Daniel, wherever you can.
Big things coming up. Make sure you follow us both on Twitter, especially me.
We've got the announcement coming out. But Dan, we got the...
No, don't jinx it. Do not jinx it, Terry. Terry.